Why do tiny ants suddenly invade your home just now? At first glance, it may seem like a simple coincidence. But what if there is something much deeper hidden behind this seemingly random event? Often we dismiss these minuscule visitors as mere nuisances, insignificant interruptions to our daily lives. Yet their presence might actually be a message from the subtle realms, a puzzle worth unraveling. Helena Blavatsky, renowned for her profound understanding of spiritual mysteries, often emphasized that the universe communicates with humans through the most unexpected signs. Ants are far from ordinary insects. They are true bearers of messages capable of transforming your perspective on life itself. Since ancient times, many cultures have regarded ants as symbols of diligence, order, and endurance. In China, their appearance was linked to the wisdom of quiet labor, reminding that great achievements arise not from noise and chaos, but from persistent effort. African tribes saw ants as heralds of change, signaling forthcoming transformations that could bring either blessings or trials. Native American peoples viewed ants as guardians of balance, arriving to restore harmony where it had been disturbed. Across all these interpretations runs the profound idea of a deep connection between the inner and outer worlds of human beings. You have likely noticed how ants disrupt your peace by appearing in the most unexpected places within your home. This is no accident. As Helena Blavatsky taught, everything in the universe is interconnected and governed by unalterable laws. Even the tiniest creatures act according to a preordained plan. If ants have chosen to enter your home, it means an important phase in your life is beginning that demands special attention and effort. Consider the story of an acquaintance who missed vital opportunities due to chronic indecision. When ants appeared in his kitchen, they became a sign of order and discipline, prompting him to reconsider and change his habitual life patterns. A home is much more than mere walls and furniture. It reflects our inner world, our thoughts, emotions, and energetic state. Ancient wisdom says, "What stirs the heart and mind is mirrored in daily reality." When our internal balance is disrupted, energy begins to flow into the surrounding space, and ants may act as quiet helpers pointing out these disturbances. For example, if ants appear in the kitchen area, it might be time to pay attention to abundance, both physical and spiritual. Wherever abundance exists, gratitude and mindful management of resources should also be present. Some people I have encountered reported ant appearances at moments of intense psychological strain or unresolved conflicts. One woman, for instance, noticed constant ant trails in her bedroom, precisely when her inner world was filled with anxiety and restlessness. For her, this became a signal to focus on emotional health, to find time for rest, and to clear out unnecessary worries. Such a small insect carries a coded message about the need for inner order. Helena Blavatsky taught that a person's spirit embodies their energy, and energy must remain in harmony. Otherwise, life as a whole suffers. In some situations, if ants multiply rapidly and fill the living space, this may indicate external factors draining your life forces. This depletion might not be only physical exhaustion, but also energetic fatigue caused by relationships, work stress, or harmful habits. A friend who sincerely believed in spiritual practices realized this when an ant invasion overtook his office. He revised his environment, removed negative influences, and devoted time to restoring his inner energy. Such stories remind us that ants are not enemies, but messengers helping us confront invisible adversaries. Sometimes it is difficult to see the most important things amidst habitual busyness. It is precisely at such moments that ants, these tiny teachers, demonstrate it is time to slow down, to plan, and thoughtfully consider your steps. They move with clear purpose, avoiding chaos, inviting us to do the same. I recall a story of a person faced with a crucial life decision when ants suddenly flooded his home. He took their arrival as a sign from the universe to act prudently and avoid rash choices. Helena Blavatsky asserted in her writings that patience and mindfulness are the keys to success. No less significant is the collective life of ants. They never act alone. Their strength lies in unity and teamwork. This lesson is especially relevant in today's world, where we often forget the importance of support and mutual assistance. A young man changed his attitude toward colleagues after noticing an appearances in his office coincided with strife in the team. He began fostering relationships and encouraging cooperation, leading to a swift restoration of harmony. The sense of unity emphasized in Blavatsky's philosophy reminds us that personal success is impossible without harmony with others. Now let us turn to spiritual sources that awaken our understanding of profound truths. In sacred writings, such as parables, ants are presented as examples of wisdom and foresight. What better reason to emulate them? They gather food at the right time, ensuring they survive hardships without needless loss. Helena Blavatsky reminded that spiritual preparation is not empty talk. It is like the ants' summer provisions. By fortifying our souls with a strong foundation, we reduce the risk of being unready when life's storms arise. This teaching is more relevant than ever as the world around and within us constantly changes. Despite all signs, some still tend to dismiss everything as mere coincidence, thus missing the chance to hear the message. One person I know, after seeing ants in his living room, thought it was just a nuisance. Shortly thereafter, he encountered a series of unpleasant events that made him reconsider the deeper meaning of what was happening. This experience exemplifies how critical it is to listen to signs and not shut ourselves off from hidden hints. Helena Blavatsky said nature is the language of the spirit, understood only by the attentive and open. If you find ants in unusual places, reflect on what they might be trying to tell you. Perhaps it is time to bring order to your mind, heart, and everyday affairs. Sometimes a personal story of someone noticing ants on their desk becomes a starting point for discipline and achieving greater goals. Step by step, small changes lead to major victories, and lessons learned from such a simple situation stay with us for a long time. Ants are not just guests, they symbolize what the universe wishes to convey through signs and symbols. Their organization and rhythm remind us that energy is eternal, but requires careful handling. Helena Blavatsky instilled in us the belief that each day is an opportunity to approach understanding the higher laws of existence. If you feel it is time to change something in your life, ants may become your first teachers on this path. It is time to look at these tiny creatures with new eyes and strive to understand their secret language. They awaken in us a sense of responsibility, discipline, and mindfulness. Remember, their appearance is not accidental, but a sign to accept and interpret. If you are ready to open new horizons of understanding, this journey will not disappoint you. Stay with us. There are many more amazing discoveries and answers ahead that will transform your perception of the everyday. In the next section, we will delve into practical advice on how to use these ant messages to harmonize your life and strengthen your spiritual foundation. Don't miss out, because what comes next will fill each day with meaning and the energy of a new beginning. Subscribe, like, and share your stories. Together, we will make this path brighter and clearer for everyone. Ant symbolism in various cultures and spiritual traditions. Ants have intrigued humanity throughout history, imparting rich layers of symbolism across cultures worldwide. These minute yet remarkably organized creatures have been more than just tiny laborers. They serve as powerful metaphors for qualities deeply valued in human life and spiritual growth. By exploring their diverse symbolic meanings in Chinese, African, and Native American traditions, we uncover how ants embody themes of diligence, transformation, balance, and unity that resonate profoundly within the human experience. In ancient China, ants were regarded as remarkable symbols of wisdom arising from quiet, steady effort. The Chinese cultural lens emphasized the virtue of persistent, mindful labor over flashy, chaotic actions. Ants, with their ceaseless and orderly toil, demonstrated how great achievements stem from constant dedication, patience, and collaboration, rather than hurried or loud endeavors. This perspective reflected a subtle but potent lesson. True strength flourishes not in brilliance alone, but in perseverance. For thousands of years, Chinese artisans and philosophers alike drew inspiration from ants' discipline, often likening the small insect's community life to the ideal social order. In this worldview, the ant's ability to prepare and sustain its colony through seasons of hardship spoke plainly to the human need for foresightedness and steady progress. Journeying to the vast lands of Africa, ants took on a somewhat different yet equally profound symbolism. Among various African tribes, ants were messages of change and transformation. They heralded new phases of life, not always predictable or easy, but always necessary for growth. The coming of ants into one's environment was interpreted as a spiritual nudge to embrace internal shifts or external upheavals, preparing one to adapt and emerge stronger. In many tribal narratives, ants embodied resilience against adversity, their small size belying a potent collective strength. This symbolism highlighted how communal effort and the willingness to accept inevitable changes formed the foundation of thriving tribes and communities. Ants taught that disruptions, while daunting, carried the seeds of renewal and empowerment. For Native American cultures, ants symbolized the sacred principle of balance, acting as guardians to restore harmony. The intersection between the household and the spiritual world was vividly imagined through the ant's presence, signaling moments when equilibrium had been disturbed. Whenever ants appeared, they called attention to areas where harmony faltered, emotionally, energetically, or physically, prompting introspection and healing. These indigenous teachings embraced ants as messengers, illuminating the intimate connection between the individual, the family, and the broader community. Reflecting cycles of nature, ants urged mindful observation of one's inner state and surrounding environment to foster restoration. Their appearance was never left to chance, but seen as a spiritual summoning toward wholeness and self-care. Across these cultures, a cohesive theme emerges in the symbolism of ants, a profound link between external order and inner tranquility. Ant invasions in domestic spaces often mirror disruptions brewing within the self, whether intellectual, emotional, or energetic. Such events provoke contemplation, revealing that the home is not merely physical walls and furniture, but a reflection of the psyche's state. When ants breach one's sanctuary, it is a call to harmonize not only the environment, but also one's thoughts, feelings, and daily practices. This interconnectedness teaches that small disturbances in the visible world often echo deeper imbalances within the soul's terrain. Helena Blavatsky, a notable figure known for her profound spiritual insights, emphasized that the universe communicates subtly through signs and symbols, and ants are prime examples of such messengers. She taught that all beings, regardless of size, act according to a divine plan governed by unbreakable cosmic laws. Therefore, the sudden appearance of ants is never mere coincidence, but a meaningful signal of an important life phase requiring awareness and focused energy. One compelling story she shared described a man who frequently hesitated, missing vital opportunities. Only when ants invaded his kitchen did he awaken to the necessity of bringing discipline and order into his life, which catalyzed his personal transformation. This narrative underscores the idea that ants point toward the need for structure, patience, and conscious action as cornerstones of spiritual and practical growth. These tiny insects are also emblematic of gratitude and stewardship, especially when they appear in kitchens. Here, ants symbolically address abundance in both material and spiritual senses. The presence of ants among food and nourishment calls attention to how we honor our resources and express appreciation for life's gifts. Ignoring such signs might result in careless habits or energy leakage. Conversely, heeding the message encourages mindful consumption, sharing, and the cultivation of prosperity. Ancient wisdom across cultures affirms that abundance is not merely a matter of accumulation, but a balanced exchange nurtured through respect and responsibility. Many people recount noticing ants if internal stress or unresolved tensions surge within their lives. For example, persistent ant trails in a bedroom might coincide with anxiety or emotional unrest. Such signs serve as urgent reminders to pause, nurture emotional well-being, and cleanse the mind of unnecessary worry. Ant behavior in this light is purified symbolism, urging restoration and inner order. Blavatsky highlighted that spiritual health is fundamentally linked to energetic harmony, and recognizing these tiny creatures as allies can guide one toward healing and renewal when life seems overwhelming. On occasions when ants multiply rapidly and occupy extensive areas, it symbolizes the draining of personal vitality from external sources. This could manifest physically as fatigue or emotionally as depletion caused by unhealthy relationships, stressful work environments, or destructive habits. One individual's experience of an ant invasion in his office became a catalyst for him to reevaluate his surroundings and purge negativity, leading to profound energy restoration. Blavatsky reminded followers that ants are faithful companions, helping us detect unseen adversaries, reinforcing the necessity of protecting inner resources vigilantly. Observing ants can also teach us about purpose and intentional living. Unlike chaotic movement, ants progress with clear objectives, demonstrating coordinated action and focus. Blavatsky extolled the virtues of patience and consciousness as keys to success, lessons ants deliver through their unwavering cooperation. Their communal existence reminds us of the importance of social bonds, mutual support, and collective strength, principles that are remarkably relevant in today's often fragmented societies. Stories of office conflicts resolving when ants appeared emphasize how embracing unity fosters stability and spiritual growth. Spiritually, ants inspire practical wisdom regarding preparation and foresight. Sacred texts, like the biblical Proverbs, invoke ants as exemplars of prudence, collecting sustenance in times of plenty to weather adversity. This metaphor reflects the timeless truth that building a solid foundation today safeguards our future well-being. Blavatsky likened spiritual readiness to the ants' summer stores, essential reserves of strength, clarity, and faith to face life's inevitable challenges. By embodying this lesson, individuals align themselves with universal principles that transcend cultural boundaries. Despite the clear patterns of symbolism, many dismiss ant appearances as mere nuisance or coincidence, missing precious insights. A notable account told of a person who, after observing ants in his living room, ignored their message and soon encountered difficulties, prompting reflection. This scenario illustrates the critical importance of openness to subtle signs. Nature's language, as Blavatsky stresses, requires keen attentiveness and humility to decode, unlocking pathways to awakening and transformation. Different home areas where ants appear uniquely amplify the message. Kitchens point to physical health and abundance. Bedrooms signify emotional tension needing release. Workspaces highlight the need for focus and reorganization. Recognizing these nuances can empower individuals to translate natural signals into personal growth strategies. Engaging with such messages fosters resilience and nurtures a balanced life integrated with spiritual values. In summary, ants transcend their biological roles, emerging as profound spiritual symbols endowed with lessons on discipline, unity, and conscious evolution. Each encounter invites us to consider our inner landscape and external habits, leading to greater harmony with ourselves and the wider cosmos. Guided by ancient wisdom and elucidated through Helena Blavatsky's teachings, the humble ant becomes a mentor, urging us to embrace responsibility, prudent foresight, and collaborative power. As we accept these teachings and open to the subtle languages of the universe, ants help illuminate our path towards spiritual maturity. Next, we will explore concrete practices that translate ant symbolism into daily rituals and mindful approaches for fostering balance and growth. These practical steps will transform symbolic meaning into actionable wisdom, deepening our connection with the sacred rhythms of life. Stay with us to discover how to harness the energetic lessons bestowed by these tiny teachers to enrich your journey and empower your soul's unfolding. Interpreting ants' presence as a reflection of your inner world. Have you ever wondered why tiny ants suddenly appear in your home just when it feels like everything is out of balance or strangely tense around you? At first glance, these little creatures might seem like simple household irritants, mere coincidences that disrupt your comfort. Yet what if their unexpected presence carries a far deeper meaning? Ants have long symbolized far more than just diligent insects. Across various cultures, they have been revered as powerful signs, imbued with rich symbolism about life, order, and transformation. Helena Blavatsky, a profound spiritual thinker known for her explorations into mystical mysteries, emphasized that the universe communicates with us through subtle signals, often hidden in the most unexpected forms. Ants, she suggested, are not simply pests, but messengers urging us to become aware of deeper shifts within our inner and outer worlds. From ancient times, ants have embodied diligence, discipline, and endurance. In Chinese tradition, their appearance is associated with the wisdom of steady, calm effort, reminding us that great achievements arise from persistent, consistent work rather than chaos and noise. Their tireless pursuit of gathering and organizing sustenance exemplifies the value of patience and preparation. Similarly, African tribes have treated ants as heralds of change, signaling impending transformations that might bring growth or tests of resilience. Indigenous peoples of the Americas interpreted ants as guardians of balance, sent to restore harmony where disorder had crept in. These rich layers of symbolic meaning across distinct cultures point to a universal theme: the intimate connection between our internal state and the external environment, mirrored profoundly in the seemingly small and insignificant. You might recall moments when ants unexpectedly disrupted your peace, crawling into unlikely places within your home. These moments are rarely accidental. According to Helena Blavatsky's teachings, every phenomenon in the universe is interconnected and governed by unbreakable laws. Even creatures as small as ants act according to a preordained cosmic pattern. When ants enter your living space, it signals that your life is on the verge of an important period, demanding focused attention and effort. For instance, the story of an acquaintance who repeatedly missed crucial opportunities due to chronic indecision beautifully demonstrates this. The sudden appearance of ants in his kitchen became a metaphor for order and discipline. Reflecting on this nudged him to reconsider and alter his habitual lifestyle. This shows how our home is much more than walls and furniture. It reflects our internal world, including our thoughts, emotions, and energetic condition. Ancient wisdom teaches us that what stirs the heart and mind invariably manifests in our everyday environment. When inner balance falters, energy spills over into the space around us, and ants act like silent helpers pointing toward these disruptions. If ants primarily invade your kitchen, it may be time to pay special attention to abundance, both physical and spiritual. True abundance requires gratitude and mindful stewardship of resources. I have met many people whose encounters with ants coincided with intense psychological stress or unresolved conflicts. One woman, for example, found ant trails weaving persistently through her bedroom when her inner world brimmed with anxiety and unease. For her, this became a clarion call to tend to her emotional health, carve out moments for rest, and release unnecessary worries. The tiny ants thus carried within them a coded message about the necessity for internal order. Blavatsky taught that the human spirit is essentially energy, and energy must remain balanced. Otherwise, life suffers in all its aspects. Sometimes when ants multiply rapidly and saturate a living space, it may reflect external factors draining your life force. This could mean not just physical exhaustion, but also energetic depletion caused by toxic relationships, stressful jobs, or harmful habits. A spiritual practitioner I know experienced a sudden ant invasion in his study, which prompted him to reassess his surroundings. He eliminated negative influences and began rebuilding his internal vitality. His story illustrates a vital lesson from the ants. Not enemies, but allies can help us resist invisible adversaries. Often, the turmoil of everyday busyness blurs our perception of what is truly important. At such times, ants, as tiny teachers, encourage slowing down, mapping out plans carefully and moving deliberately. Their purposeful movements contrast starkly with chaos, inviting us to adopt their example. I recall the account of an individual facing a critical life decision when ants swarmed his home. He interpreted this as a sign from the universe urging careful consideration and discouraging rashness. Helena Blavatsky consistently highlighted patience and mindfulness as key to success. Indeed, these qualities find embodiment in ants' coordinated labor. Equally important is the collective life of ants. They never act alone. Their strength lies in unity and teamwork, a lesson increasingly relevant in our world where we frequently overlook the importance of mutual support. A young man noticed ants appear in his office during a period of discord among colleagues. He decided to foster better relationships and support within the group, which restored harmony and stability. Blavatsky's philosophy encourages us to recognize that personal achievements cannot be fully realized without harmony in our external relationships. Turning now to spiritual traditions that inspire a deeper understanding of these truths, sacred texts often feature ants as paragons of prudence and foresight. Their habit of gathering food at the right time symbolizes preparedness to endure hardships without unnecessary loss. Blavatsky likens spiritual readiness to the ants' summer stores. Building robust inner foundations reduces vulnerability to life's storms. This teaching remains ever relevant amid constant changes within and around us. Yet despite these clear messages, some dismiss the presence of ants as mere chance, missing precious opportunities to decipher underlying signals. I know a person who initially regarded ants in his living room as mere nuisance, but soon confronted a string of difficulties that forced him to reconsider their spiritual significance. This experience underscores the importance of being attentive to signs and not closing ourselves off from subtle hints. Blavatsky maintained that nature is the language of the spirit, accessible only to attentive and open hearts. If you observe ants in unusual locations within your home, pause and ponder what they might be communicating. Perhaps it is time to organize your thoughts, emotions, and daily routines. Often, personal stories reveal how noticing ants on a desk became the starting point for cultivating discipline and achieving greater goals. Step by step, small changes accumulate into significant victories. Lessons derived from such simple circumstances linger and shape us long-term. Ants represent not just transient guests, but living symbols carrying universal messages. Their orderliness and rhythm remind us that energy flows eternally, yet requires careful handling. Blavatsky inspired confidence that each day presents a chance to advance closer to understanding the higher laws of existence. If you sense a need for change, ants may emerge as your first teachers along this path. It is time to view these diminutive beings through fresh eyes and endeavor to comprehend their secret language. They awaken within us a sense of responsibility, discipline, and awareness. Remember, their arrival is no accident, but a deliberate sign to embrace and interpret. Should you be ready to discover new horizons of insight, this journey will not disappoint. Stay with us. We have many astounding revelations and answers ahead that will transform your perception of the everyday. In the following section, we will delve into practical strategies for harnessing ants' messages to harmonize your life and fortify your spiritual foundations. Do not miss out, as you are about to encounter something that will fill each day with meaning and the vibrant energy of a fresh beginning. Subscribe, like, and share your stories. Together, we will illuminate and clarify this path for everyone. Practical guidance for embracing ants' spiritual messages. Have you ever paused to wonder why ants suddenly appear in your home just at this very moment? Is it merely coincidence, or could there be a deeper message hidden within their unexpected arrival? Ants are more than tiny insects scurrying about. They act as subtle messengers, bearing signals meant for those willing to pay close attention. Many individuals have encountered these diligent creatures during turning points in their lives, sensing that the presence of ants coincides with an awakening to new realizations and profound change. This understanding opens a remarkable path for personal growth and spiritual development when we learn to interpret the lessons they bring. Throughout history, the symbolism of ants has been closely linked to virtues such as unity, perseverance, and mindful action. Qualities essential for anyone seeking harmony within and without. The way these small beings work together seamlessly, driven by purpose and discipline, inspires us to consider how we approach our own obstacles and aspirations. When ants infiltrate spaces essential to daily living, such as the kitchen, bedroom, or workplace, their presence hints at the aspects of our lives that need attention and refinement. Consider the kitchen, a place closely tied to nourishment and abundance. The appearance of ants here might encourage a reflection on how we care for our physical well-being and manage our resources. In one poignant example, a family noted an increased presence of ants just as they started neglecting shared meals and heartfelt conversations. Recognizing this silent call for connection, they refocused their efforts on fostering warmth and gratitude within their household. This shift restored emotional balance, demonstrating how paying attention to small environmental signs can ripple through our relationships and well-being. In the bedroom, ants often symbolize inner turmoil or unresolved emotional stress. One individual observed a sudden influx of ants during an especially anxious phase, reflecting the unrest disturbing their peace of mind. This discovery became a catalyst for exploring relaxation techniques and spiritual practices that helped restore calm and emotional clarity. Such experiences echo long-standing spiritual insights asserting that our inner landscapes inevitably influence our external surroundings, and vice versa. Ants, appearing as natural indicators, beckon us to diligently cleanse our mental and emotional clutter. Workspaces, hubs of focus and ambition also become stages for the ants' instructional presence. A young entrepreneur facing chaotic priorities and burnout found new motivation when ants began inhabiting his office. Their disciplined collaboration reminded him of the power of planning and steady progress, leading to a revitalized approach that balanced perseverance with clarity. This story illustrates how the smallest details in our environment can serve as profound reminders to recalibrate our strategies and nurture our inner resources. Energy imbalances within the home are another vital message ants might convey. When concentrated in a particular area, ants may signal blockages or negative influences needing release. For example, a woman noticed ants trailing persistently along her hallway during times of familial discord. This observation inspired her to initiate dialogue and healing efforts that gradually restored harmony and renewed joy. These creatures assist us by highlighting where energetic renewal is necessary, fostering awareness that leads to healing and growth. Ants exemplify the strength of unity and perseverance, attributes continually emphasized in spiritual traditions and teachings. Their collective work ethic stands as a metaphor for the human need to seek support, share experiences, and collaborate in pursuit of personal and communal goals. Reflecting on this, one man found solace and renewed spiritual vigor by cultivating a close-knit circle of friends, turning challenges into opportunities for shared growth. Spiritually minded individuals recognize that true progress requires both individual dedication and harmonious relationships. Delving into cultural and religious symbolism enriches this understanding. Ancient texts, including the Book of Proverbs, invite us to consider the ant. You who are sluggards, observe its ways and be wise. This passage highlights the ant's independent yet organized diligence, serving as a timeless allegory for preparation and resilience. In esoteric philosophies championed by thinkers like Helena Blavatsky, Ants embody the essence of spiritual readiness, the cultivation of inner discipline as a means to transcend adversity and evolve. By tuning into these embedded teachings, we grasp that ants are messengers urging us to embody steadiness and foresight in our lives. Practical examples resonate deeply when we observe modern encounters with ants triggering pivotal shifts. A woman who once battled an ant infestation in her home chose not to simply eradicate them, but to reflect on how their presence revealed neglected aspects of self-care and patience. Her subsequent transformation, embracing patience, engaging with her community, and managing stress more mindfully, demonstrates how nature's lessons integrate seamlessly with personal evolution. Similarly, a man overwhelmed by routine and distractions found clarity when ants compelled him to streamline his life, helping him understand that persistence over time builds unshakable foundations. Ants also highlight the critical importance of recognizing and releasing energy vampires, individuals or habits that drain vitality. One story recounts a man whose home became overrun with ants just as he identified toxic relationships stifling his growth. By making conscious changes to his social circle and lifestyle, he experienced renewed enthusiasm and inspiration. This illustrates how ants function as prompts for energetic discernment, guiding us to protect and nurture our life force diligently. Adapting to change is another lesson ants deliver. Their relentless movement and adaptability teach us to embrace transformation with grace rather than resistance. Helena Blavatsky's spiritual guidance underscores inner transformation as the anchor of true progress, pointing to ants as symbols of awakening and natural wisdom. Recognizing the arrival of ants as more than mere pests challenges us to develop awareness that transcends surface disruptions, uncovering deeper spiritual calls beneath. The significance of an ant's location within the home extends further. Kitchens may signal physical nourishment and financial health. Bedrooms evoke emotional harmony and rest, while offices draw attention to focus and ambition. Taking note of these contextual clues helps us ask vital questions. What area of my life demands more care? Which emotions do I need to address? Where am I losing energy unnecessarily? Grappling with such inquiries opens pathways for insight and action that yield meaningful transformation. Indeed, nearly every personal narrative inspired by ants involves a moment of awakening, a pause to examine the present and choose intentional change. Individuals report enhanced emotional well-being, renewed motivation, and strengthened spiritual practices after listening to these tiny advisors. Their presence encourages us not only to notice, but to embrace the principles of consistency, unity, and mindful effort as we navigate life's complexities. Ultimately, ants remind us that our homes are reflections of our internal states and that external chaos often mirrors inner discord. They urge us to cultivate order, not merely for aesthetic reasons, but as a gateway to balancing mind, body, and spirit. This holistic approach resonates with ancient wisdom and modern psychological insight alike, affirming the transformative power of paying attention to all levels of existence. As you consider the ants appearing in your own environment, invite openness to their lessons rather than annoyance or dismissal. Use their example to foster discipline, collaboration, and patient persistence, building habits that support both personal resilience and collective harmony. Their ever-present, yet often unnoticed work ethic stands as a beacon to move through challenges calmly and purposefully. With these reflections, we recognize that the journey of transformation is ongoing and multifaceted. Ants serve as humble yet profound guides, inviting us to cultivate awareness and embrace the spiritual messages woven into daily life. As we continue exploring these themes, we will delve deeper into practical techniques for decoding such signs and applying their wisdom to forge stronger inner foundations and meaningful progress. Stay tuned with us as we embark on the next stage of this enlightening adventure, where actionable strategies await to help you harness the power of ants' symbolic guidance. Together, we can transform everyday encounters into extraordinary catalysts for growth, resilience, and spiritual awakening. Ants as teachers of patience, unity, and spiritual preparation. In the vast complexity of life, the smallest creatures often carry the most profound wisdom, silently teaching lessons that resonate through time and culture. Among these humble beings, ants stand out as tiny architects of order, embodying virtues that have guided humanity's spiritual and practical paths for centuries. Their relentless work ethic, unwavering unity, and remarkable preparedness have not only captivated naturalists, but also inspired mystics, philosophers, and spiritual teachers. This deep connection between ants and human development can be traced back to ancient scriptures and esoteric traditions alike, where these minute insects symbolize much more than mere industriousness. They represent patience, unity, and spiritual preparation for life's inevitable tests. The book of Proverbs in the Bible offers one of the most celebrated reflections on the ant's wisdom, urging people to observe its ways and gain insight. The passage advises, "Consider the ant, you sluggard, observe its ways and be wise. Without a commander, without overseer or ruler, it prepares its bread in summer and gathers its food at harvest." This timeless teaching highlights the ant's self-motivation and foresight, qualities essential for human success and spiritual advancement. There is no external authority compelling the ant's diligence. Rather, an inner drive propels it to act consistently and prudently. This inner discipline serves as a powerful metaphor for personal responsibility and the cultivation of steady progress without reliance on external enforcement. Beyond religious texts, esoteric traditions have embraced the symbolism of the ant as a guide toward higher consciousness and resilience. Influential teachers have emphasized the importance of nurturing one's inner strength by adopting principles reflected in ant behavior: patience through sustained effort, unity through collective collaboration, and preparedness through proactive planning. The ant's harmonious coexistence within its colony models how individuals, despite their small size, can combine efforts to create something greater than the sum of their parts. This collective energy fosters stability and endurance, essential for overcoming life's inevitable challenges and transformations. The respected mystic and philosopher Helena Blavatsky exemplified these ideas in her teachings, highlighting the interconnectedness of all life and the spiritual lessons encoded in nature's patterns. She observed that universal laws govern not only celestial bodies, but also the minutiae of earthly creatures, such as ants. Their disciplined labor and seamless cooperation reveal an inherent order within the cosmos, mirroring the spiritual journey humans must undertake. For Blavatsky, ants were not simply insects but living symbols of the spiritual path, reminding us of the need for continuous self-discipline, community, and preparing ourselves to meet the tests that life invariably presents. Life, with its complexities and uncertainties, often demands steady perseverance and the strength to endure prolonged effort without immediate reward. Ants are exemplars of such virtues, illustrating patience not as passive waiting, but as actively sustained, purposeful persistence. Each ant silently fulfills its role with unwavering focus, understanding that small daily actions accumulate into significant outcomes. This perspective challenges modern tendencies toward impatience and instant gratification, encouraging instead a mindset that embraces the slow, deliberate pace of true transformation. In spiritual development, as in any other field, there is hardly any substitute for patience, which enables the deep integration of lessons and the gradual enrichment of the soul. Unity, another cornerstone of ant life, provides a profound lesson for human communities. Ant colonies thrive not due to the might of a single individual, but because of the intricate cooperation among countless members working harmoniously toward shared goals. This collective strength exemplifies the power of social cohesion and mutual support. Historically, societies and spiritual groups have revered such unity as a path to resilience, wisdom, and elevated purpose. Blavatsky often underscored that individual growth is inseparable from relational harmony, where personal achievements find full expression only within the embrace of collective well-being. Thus, ants teach the indispensable value of forging connections, cultivating empathy, and harmonizing personal ambitions with the needs of the whole. Moreover, ants remarkably symbolize spiritual preparation, the readiness that precedes and sustains success amid adversity. By gathering food during periods of plenty, ants ensure survival through times of scarcity, reflecting a sacred principle of foresight and planning. On a human level, this translates into the cultivation of spiritual reserves, practices, wisdom, and energies accumulated to face future challenges with equanimity. Blavatsky linked this preparedness to the continuous refinement of one's inner resources and awareness, affirming that spiritual development requires a proactive attitude rather than reactive scrambling. Life's storms are inevitable, but the grounded individual, like the ant storing provisions in summer, can withstand and transcend them with grace. The lessons of the ant extend into the realm of everyday living, where seemingly mundane activities gain deeper significance when performed with conscious intent. Work, rest, relationships, and rituals become opportunities to express these ancient virtues: patience, unity, and preparation. Stories abound of people who, inspired by ants, have reshaped their lives by adopting steady habits and fostering supportive communities. For instance, individuals grappling with overwhelming circumstances have found solace and strength in embracing incremental progress over quick fixes. Others have restored balance by prioritizing team cooperation at home or work, recognizing that isolation weakens rather than empowers. Such transformations echo the teachings of Blavatsky, revealing that inner harmony manifests outwardly, creating a ripple effect that improves both personal and collective existence. Importantly, the spiritual insights offered by ants transcend cultural boundaries, resonating in diverse traditions worldwide. In many ancient societies, ants were revered as symbols of industriousness and strategic planning. Asian philosophies praise the quiet diligence of ants, associating their steady labor with wisdom and long-term success. African tribal narratives often portrayed ants as heralds of change, signaling shifts that require adaptation and spiritual courage. Indigenous peoples of the Americas sometimes viewed ants as custodians of balance, summoned to restore harmony where discord had taken root. These overlapping symbolisms affirm a universal recognition of ants as teachers not only of physical labor, but also of inner virtues vital to human flourishing. In this global spiritual mosaic, ants emerge as messengers continually urging humanity to align with universal principles. The blend of biblical, esoteric, and cultural reflections portrays ants as models and guides for addressing the quintessential human dilemma: how to navigate the tension between desire and discipline, individuality and community, preparation and spontaneity. This balance shapes the path to mastery over oneself and one's environment. Observing ants invites contemplation of how patience can temper impulsiveness, how unity can transcend loneliness, and how preparation can alleviate fear. Each ant's silent journey across the terrain mirrors the spiritual seeker's voyage through tribulation toward awakening. Learning from these resilient creatures encourages adopting habits that foster stability and awakening, nurturing a spirit robust enough to withstand trials and luminous enough to inspire progress. As we encounter ants in daily life, whether in unexpected places or during significant life phases, their presence can be seen not as a nuisance, but as an invitation to reflect on our inner state and align with higher laws. Their small, organized steps quietly remind us to pause and ask, are we cultivating patience in the face of impatience? Are we fostering unity among our relationships or isolating ourselves? Are we preparing wisely for what the future holds or scrambling after fleeting comforts? Such introspection prompted by ants leads to conscious choices that deepen spiritual grounding and enable meaningful transformation. In a world full of distractions and noise, these simple creatures offer clarity by their example, guiding us to embrace life's rhythms with mindfulness and collective heart. The spiritual preparation modeled by ants also calls attention to the importance of foresight and discipline at a deeper energetic level. Much like ants accumulate not only food, but also strength to sustain their colony, human beings are urged to build reserves of spiritual energy through practice, meditation, and ethical living. Blavatsky insisted that such preparation is foundational for encountering life's unpredictable shifts without collapse or despair. She emphasized that enduring joy and enlightenment stem from consistent, disciplined work on the self, aligned with universal harmony. Ants exemplify this principle in nature, demonstrating how regular, purposeful work accumulates into formidable power capable of overcoming seemingly insurmountable obstacles. Moreover, the collective orientation of ants resonates with modern needs for social cohesion and solidarity. In an era marked by fragmentation and isolation, the silent cooperation of ants teaches that strength arises not from individual achievement alone, but from shared purpose and mutual aid. Blavatsky's teachings reiterate this truth, encouraging the formation of communities grounded in support, respect, and joint endeavor. Our personal journeys, while unique, are enriched and sustained through connection with others. Observing ants can thus inspire renewed commitment to building harmonious relationships, where each member's contribution elevates the whole, reflecting a microcosm of the cosmic order. Finally, embracing the symbolism of ants invites us to recognize that life's lessons often come in subtle, unexpected forms. The tiny ant's persistent, humble labor is a profound metaphor for the spiritual seeker's path: quiet, steady, unwavering. Just as ants accumulate stores to prepare for scarcity, humans are called to accumulate wisdom, virtue, and resilience to face life's trials. The biblical admonition to consider the ant serves as a timeless reminder that no external authority is needed to motivate the spirit. Inner harmony and commitment suffice. Coupled with Blavatsky's insights, this perspective reveals a holistic framework for personal growth that integrates patience with action, unity with individuality, and preparation with engagement.